This is Ginga Real Talk. My name's Kevin Serpa, and today's topic is against all odds. I'm sure most of you have been in some type of dilemmas or situations that you've been against the odds, where someone has said to you, you won't make it, you can't do that, he's not good enough. I know I have received those type of comments along the years, and they are hard. They are hard to hear, and it is something that can take a toll on you and make you want to give up and make you think that you aren't good enough. But I can tell you this, that for me, in my experience, it's definitely made me a lot stronger, and it's driven me to succeed and to make it. And I've played 12 years professional soccer. I've also played on the men's national team and all the youth national teams in Canada. I've played in unbelievable games, scoring goals against international teams in international competitions. And every time that I scored, or every time that I played well, or every time I was sitting there in front of fans or singing the national anthem for my country, I thought about those people, and I thought about those comments, and I thought about all those negative mentalities that were telling me that you couldn't make it, you're not good enough, you're too short, you're not fast enough, you'll never make it. So I can tell you from my advice and my personal experience, make those things drive you. Now let's move to the coaching side against all odds. Now you're coaching and teaching kids to be winners. Now you're listening to parents. Now you're hearing other academies. Now you're hearing just the network to say his team's not good enough, his team's not going to win, he's not a good coach, he doesn't know how to train kids, he doesn't know how to make winners, he doesn't know how to produce players. Well, that also drives me a lot, but I'm not even thinking about it. And that's the other side, where as a player or a coach, and just as a normal person, you have to forget about the noise. Just block out the noise. People are going to talk no matter what you do. Imagine how Ronaldo feels. Imagine how Messi feels. Imagine how all these big superstars feel when all they do is hear negative. These guys are at the top level, and they're hearing negative comments all the time. And it comes from every aspect, every direction, and every angle. But it goes back to believing in yourself. Believing in your work, believing in yourself, and having the people around you believe in you, and it makes a big difference when you have that self-belief. You know, I've heard a lot of comments in the last 10 years doing academy and training and camps that, oh, he doesn't know what he's doing. I don't know what I'm doing. I played in Brazil. I actually played professional in Brazil, the country that is considered the best in the world for producing players, producing teams, and they have the most World Cups. How can you say that you don't know what you're doing? It's pretty crazy. But like I said to you before, I'm saying this with a smile. It motivates me because I always go back to what I learned, the coaches that gave me the advice, big players, big coaches. Even when I went to Portugal and Spain, I was playing with Brazilian players, Portuguese players, Spanish players, learning all the time. The coaches, top coaches from Brazil, Portugal. One of the coaches I had at Penafiel was Manuel Fernandes. I'm not sure if you know him, but he is one of the legends of Sporting Lisbon. He was my coach. He gave me advice and gave me confidence and self-belief that was beyond anyone. No one could have gave me the confidence he did, and these are the type of things where you have to think, I'm producing players from my experience, from the coaches that helped produce me. I reached a certain level, and now I'm giving back to these young ballers. And some of these boys that I've trained have played for TFC. Some of these boys have played on the national team. Some of these boys have went on to other academies and do unbelievable things. And some of them are in Europe. So that's a credit not just to my work, but that's a credit to the work that I obtained while I was being a professional soccer player in Europe and Brazil. Brazil, the land of football. My experience in Brazil was 11 and a half months, professional contract, a lot of suffering. I was 20 years old, and it probably changed my life forever, on the pitch and off the pitch. In the first week that I was there, we had a very difficult time. The weather was very hot. The training was just something that was beyond anything I've ever experienced. Twice a day, with players and coaches that had an expectation and a demand of 200,000%. And these players were hungry. I'm telling you that they were hungry. I never experienced that before. And something that I appreciate is, you know, these players were not rich players. They were not driving Lamborghinis. They were not dressed in Gucci. These guys were dressed in like Havaianas, a tank top, and shorts. But as soon as they got on the pitch, oh my God, I couldn't believe what I was watching. I was in the first training session. I had to stop after 15 minutes because I couldn't keep up cardio-wise. I just couldn't keep up. The pace was just so fast, so strong. Every single player had unbelievable skill. I was taking on defenders at the time that had way more skill than me. And I said, where am I? What is this? And the coach turned to me and he said, welcome to Brazil. So month after month, week after week, day after day, just like anybody in any type of job or any type of sport, you get accustomed to the rhythm, you get accustomed to the pace, you start to make friends, and I started to become so much better. I was learning every day from great players and great coaches with information and training that I've never received before. And now I thought, wow, I'm actually turning into a Brazilian soccer player. This is amazing. And I started to create friends, and then the bonds started to happen on the field, and things started to link up. I was training with the under-20 team with EC Comercial, and they came to about 3 months in, and they offered me a professional contract, and now I was training with the under-20s and training with the pro team. So I was pretty blessed to see, you know, my mentality change, because there was times where I wanted to give up, and that's what I'm talking about. Against all odds, all of those messages and all of those comments that I heard growing up, you're not going to make it, you're not. Now I'm thinking, I just got an offer in Brazil to play professional soccer in Brazil, and all of those comments meant absolutely nothing. They drove me to be in that position. You know, not too many Canadians leave their family, leave their home, leave their comfort zone to go in Brazil and try to live and try to compete and try to fit in, and in the end try to improve, because that's what I was trying to do. I was trying to improve because I wanted to go there to suffer. I wanted to go there to obtain as much education as possible so that I could further my professional potential, because in the end I wanted to play in Europe, and that's exactly what happened. After Brazil, I played in Portugal, I played in Spain, and I played in Norway. And I'm pretty blessed for that and pretty grateful. And thank you, Brazil, and thank you, my coaches and my teammates, for that. Because without you guys, I wouldn't be here telling this type of story about against all odds. Quick little story about Brazil, and nothing to do with football. I was in my hotel, because I lived in a hotel for the first 2 or 3 months. And I was just going to the bakery to just get a few goodies, so because I was kind of hungry and I just wanted to get a few goodies. And I don't tell this story very often because it's a pretty serious story, but it is about against all odds, so I am going to share it. I came out of my hotel, and the bakery was about less than 50 meters away from my hotel. And there was a boy sitting there, dressed casually, t-shirt, shorts, Havaianas. And he was calling my name, Kevin, Kevin, Kevin. I was like, how does this guy know me? So I started walking towards him because I was going that way anyway. And he's like, hey, Kevin, I saw you at training. You're a good player. How is it like from, you know, being here as a Canadian boy, being in Brazil? I said, it's amazing. You know, it's very difficult. There's a lot of heat, and the training is hard, and the players are all very, very good and very, very serious. And I'm enjoying it. And he said, but can I have your autograph? I said, well, I don't have a pen, but of course you can have my autograph. I don't have a pen if you have a pen. So he reached for his back pocket and he pulled out a gun and put it to my chest. So I said, whoa, what do you want? In Portuguese, what do you want? What do you want? No problem. Give me your money, give me your shoes, give me your shirt. I said, okay. Just please, don't please, don't. I'll give you anything, just don't shoot. So he said, hurry, give me. So I kind of rushed to take off my stuff and I gave it to him. And I had maybe 2 or 3 Rios, which is like not even $5. And I gave it to him and he just ran off. And I sat there thinking, wow, this is going to be a ride. 5 months later, I was out with a few friends and I was coming home by myself, walking home by myself. It was maybe 1 kilometer, 2 kilometers maximum away from my hotel. And during that walk home, I was alone. I started to hear like these footsteps behind me, and I looked back and there was 3 guys just walking normally. And then I started to hear like a little bit like jogging. It was a little bit faster, the footsteps. I looked back and they were jogging towards me. So I started to run because I thought if I can make it to my hotel, I'm clean because I already know what's happening. I'm now 5 months in. I already experienced a lot. And in the end, they caught up to me very quick because they were already running. And by the time I looked back, they were right behind me and they were pointing a gun at me again. And so I stopped and I said, guys, whatever you need, just here. I don't have much on me, but you can take the same thing: shirt, shoes, and the money that I had. And I had again a couple Rios on me, so I gave him the money. I was more relaxed this time because I kind of knew what I was getting myself into. As long as you just play with the game, give them what they want, everything will be cool. And that's exactly what I did. Luckily, they at the end they asked for my autograph, and the guy had a pen and he had some type of piece of paper on him, and I actually did give him my autograph after he robbed me. So that's another experience. And those experiences, what did they do to me? It gave me tough skin. It also made me realize that if you're humble and you try not to fight back against people that are trying to rob you or do bad things against you, don't fight back. Just go with the flow, give them what they want, and everything will be okay. There was a problem though. I was wearing Nikes, and I did have a Nike t-shirt, and I was wearing things that, people that are less fortunate, especially in Brazil, they want. So the moral of the story is go with the flow, don't be a cool guy, and be humble and just give them what they want. Now to the day I signed my professional contract. I was with the coach Laércio Santos and the president Tojera, and the contract was in front of me, papers were there. I've already trained and played a lot of exhibition games while I was there, so there was already a confirmation that they wanted me to stay, and there was a plan for future. So there was, I was 4 months in, and they gave me a contract. It was $5,000 US per month, and as I said, I stayed for 11.5 months, so that's another 7 months before I went home. And during those 7 months, I didn't receive 1 penny. I didn't receive 1 penny, and about 95% of the team didn't receive their salaries either. So against all odds, I stayed and received 0 money. They did take care of us with food at the club. They did take care of us at the hotel. I stayed at the hotel, and then I moved into an apartment with one of the other players, one of my friends, and they took care of us with that. But receiving a salary, very sad because you have expectation of signing the contract, you have this money, and you have potential future to live, and it was very, very difficult. I don't know how I survived, but I have tough skin, and I have a mental capacity to handle a lot of stress and a lot of suffering, and it led me to stay all those months without getting paid. The bonus to everything is that I was still becoming such a better player, mentally and physically, and the educational, that was the other part. I suffered because I was becoming a better soccer player. The money wasn't important. The money would have been great. Yes, of course, $5,000 US living in Brazil, that's a lot of money. But the benefits that I was getting was I was becoming an unbelievable player. And what happened to me was, I sacrificed the money and thought about only the training and becoming a soccer player. That was tough, but it's all part of the reality of football. People think that it's glitz and glamour and cars and diamonds, and well, I can tell you the truth, and from my experience and from many players that I know, my friends and other colleagues, that it's not glitz and glamour. It's tough, it's hard, it's a lot of suffering, and no guarantees. Another little story about Brazil. So I said that I moved into an apartment after the hotel. So when I moved into the apartment with one of my friends, he was only there for another 2 months after that. And I went to training, and he said he was going to stay home because he wasn't feeling good. He already called the coach that he wasn't coming, so I said, okay, I'll see you later. And when I saw him later, I didn't see him later. I came home, and there was a letter on my bed saying, Kevin, thank you so much for being such a great friend. I really appreciate you, but I had to take all of your clothes and all the money that you had stashed underneath your bed. So you can imagine how I felt. It was not fun, but it was the reality of where I was and the country that I was. His name is Teodoro. I have not seen him ever since, and it was an experience that made me learn a lot. It actually humbled me because, the guy took all of my stuff, but in the end, he still had the capacity to write me a letter and say thank you for being such a great friend. Brazil is a crazy world. So as you're listening to my story about Brazil and against all odds, to make it, you have to sacrifice. You have to give up a lot of things. I also gave up my country, I gave up my family, I gave up my friends, I gave up my brothers, I gave up my school, I gave up my life for trying to become this player. And I can tell you this, that I wouldn't change anything, and I would do it all over once again because it made me who I am today. So that's a wrap today, everyone. Thank you for watching. This has been a blessing, Ginga Real Talk. I want to make sure that you guys realize that I'm talking about a lot of personal stories to help a lot of young footballers in Canada, because there are a lot of young footballers here that want to take the same pathways, if it's South America or if it's Europe or professional soccer. I want you guys to realize that it's not going to be easy, but it is possible if you believe in yourself, especially against all odds. And don't forget, all those people talking smack to you, take that as motivation and make sure that you don't fall into the negative path and let them bring you down, because they can't. The only person that can take you down is yourself. Thank you for watching, everybody, and this is Real Talk.